when my girls ready for sleep, ready for bed, in bed, we go through a routine, and I use this also to get them to start to journal. That's one of the things that I'm not very good at is journaling. And I thought I want to start them young, because the habits they start when they're young will hopefully stick with them for the rest of their lives. So,
Yeah, yeah.
so I start with a journal, and in that journal, they write down certain things that happened during the day, just to reflect, because by reflecting on what happened during the day. Sorry, mate, it's gonna mute you because you're crackling coming through there. Is that
Okay.
okay? Would you mind just unmuting if
No,
you
no,
say anything?
no. That's fine. That's fine.
Okay, mate, good. So, yeah, so the intention is to reflect on the day and appreciate what they've had, and make a realization of the good things that they've done during the day, because otherwise we tend to just go through life, right? We just go through, moving through all the time, new things all the time, but we don't really reflect on what's happened. And it's often the reflecting that helps you realize just what a great day you've had, and how you've helped other people, and what a good life you're having, which otherwise you might not really realize. So they start off with writing down three thank yous, three things they're thankful for. And of course, that's very powerful, because um, we need to appreciate what we've got before we'll get anything else that's gonna come our way. If we don't appreciate the good things we have in life, we just focus on the bad things as they happen, that's going to attract more bad things into our life. So we try to, or we do, we write down three, or they write down three thank yous, something I've been really grateful for the day. And it's been really good by doing these things, because now they'll go through and write things down, often more than three. And I'm impressed by, they'll think back things that happened first thing in the day or any time during the day, and they just come up with these things that, even when I've been with them during the day, like at the weekends, they'll remember things that I've seen, but I wouldn't really have taken note from. So it's really good for them so that they're putting the right energy out into the universe, and at the same time they're really appreciating things more. So they start off with three thank yous, three or more thank yous, and that can be anything. It doesn't have to be a big thing, but it just makes them think back and reflect on their day, and just they do have an appreciation for the good things they've got in life. And at first it was like all these things, you have to get into a routine, and you have to sort of train your brain as to any kind of thinking and reflecting takes a bit of energy, but they do it quite naturally now. Within a few minutes, they can write down pretty much this whole thing we're going to go through here. So yeah, so starting off with three thank yous. That's good for everybody, right? We should all be writing down things that or reflecting on thank yous, things we're thankful for today. And with that, with those good feelings, remember, it's always the feelings. It's not the word, it's not the thoughts, it's the feelings that we have. The thoughts being on the feelings. So when we feel thankful, we're going to attract more things to be thankful for in our life. That's just a general kind of law of attraction kind of mean. Okay, so we do the thank yous. Then we move on to what they did good for someone else. Just one thing they did good for somebody else. Maybe someone fell over in the playground, they helped them up, or somebody was upset about something and they comforted them. And this is to give them to realize that they are helping other people. And by reflecting on helping other people, not only do they feel better in themselves, which kind of empowers themselves, it also kind of subconsciously encourages them to help people as well, help people more. They see the value in helping people. So that's a really good thing that I incorporated. That realizing that we're on this planet as not just us, because when you're a kid, it's all about me, because that's how they survive, that's how they learn. But it's of course, being mammals, we live in communities, and being part of that, all our life really is about serving others and how we can help other people. So that's something they did good for somebody else. Next is an interesting one. I put this in there because this is what they did new, something they did new today. And the reason I put this in there was that I found that through all these self-improvement books, and for adults, what we have to do, we have to try new things, right? We have to push ourselves, we have to get outside of our comfort zone. And it's not an easy thing to do. But what I've found with kids is that they always have to be right all the time. They're always being tested. They're always in groups of people, and they're scared to put their hand up in case they get it wrong. They're always scared to try new things. Because when they're really young, they're encouraged to play a lot, and they learn from playing and investigating things and trying new things. But as they go through the school system, that kind of gets kicked out of them. And they always have to be right because they're scared to be wrong. And that's as an entrepreneur, you're never ever going to succeed like that. You can never succeed by being scared of failing, because it's that, call it failing, I don't like using that word, but by that failing, you're learning. And when you're learning, of course, you're improving yourself. So I thought that's really important, and it's something that we do every night. I ask them to say one thing they did new today. And often it's going to be something like, I read a new book, or I don't know, play with a new friend or something. But as they get older, because they're only 9 and 11 right now, but as they get older, I encourage them to, get out of their comfort zone and try something really new, something that they were scared of doing. And it's happened a few times that they've done something, and I can't think of an example right now, but they've done something which was out of their comfort zone. And I said, well, how does it feel now you've done it? And they'll acknowledge that, yes, it feels good to try something new, and to achieve something that otherwise they wouldn't have done. They've been too scared to try it. So that's a pretty cool one. I like that one. Trying something new. The next one here is, this is about self beauty, I guess you'd call it. Another thing I noticed with kids is they, especially one of my kids, one's quite self-confident, the younger one. The older one, she's very self-conscious. And what I asked them to do is what they did beautiful today for themselves. I want them to appreciate the beauty they have in themselves. And this is particularly important for girls, but of course it's important for boys as well. They have to appreciate that they are beautiful beings. And although society and the school tries to crush them, and depending on their personality, whether it really has a big effect on them or not, they need to realize that they are beautiful beings, and that being beautiful, and that feeling of, that's empowering, to feel good, feel beautiful, feel like a really nice person. So I asked them to think of something they did beautiful for themselves. Being girls, often it's doing their hair nice or whatever it was. It doesn't matter. It's just so they appreciate that they do look beautiful. They don't, because as they go through teenage years, I haven't had this experience yet, but I've heard stories through my life of kids comparing themselves to these girls or young women in these glossy magazines that are skinny as a rake and always look perfect, but they don't look very nice really, and all these things. So they're always comparing themselves to other people. And what they need to do is realize that they are beautiful in themselves. It doesn't matter if they're not the prettiest girl in the world, but they're still beautiful, right? It's the personality that comes out. It's from within. Beauty comes from within. And this I found very interesting, because when I started doing this for my eldest, she was really she could not say that she was beautiful. She just couldn't say it. Whether she could, or she just wouldn't, I don't know. But it took. This is what the mantra we get to at the end, and eventually she did it, and then it took almost a year, I think. Yeah, pretty close to a year. But it was so good, because now she says it quite freely, and she loves it. She does feel beautiful. So it's made a huge difference, and I think that's really, really important. So something that they did beautiful for themselves, something that made them feel good, whether they dressed up smart for this, or they look good for the photos, or just something they did that makes them feel like a nice human being. And along the same lines of that is what they did beautiful for someone else. And this kind of ties in with what they did good for someone else, which we've already covered, but something they did beautiful for someone else, something that was really heartfelt they did for somebody else. Maybe it was comforting someone, maybe it was just giving grandma a big hug. Yeah, any of these little things that make somebody else feel good. So it's beautiful for somebody else. Next one is something they did that's going to make them successful. So I want my kids to have a plan, and not just drift through life like I did for a lot of my life, but to actually have a plan and to know what they're aiming for. And one of the things that they'll be aiming for is to be more successful in whatever way that might be for them, whatever their thing is, right? So every day, just make a note of something that they did that would make them more successful. So moving towards that, being successful in whatever it might be, anything in life really. When they're young, it's easier, because they're just anything that's going to make them more successful in life. And that one might be writing a journal, might be reading a book. It might be something they did at school, where of course, success really comes from focus and from practice, knowing what you want to be good at, and then practicing. So I'm always telling them, girls, how did that go? How did that picture go? Yeah, that's good. I said, well, I don't really like this. I said, well, of course, you're practicing, right? You'll get better. Every time you do, you get better. It's all about practice. So that's what I'm trying to do there, is to encourage them to realize that everything they're doing is improving their life, and is going to make them more successful in whatever they're doing. And that ties into the final point here, which is what they did today that has made them more smart. It doesn't have to be intellectual smart, but it could be like doing cooking with mum or something. It's made them better at knowing how to cook. So it's something that's made them smart. It might be reading a book on mathematics and learning about algebra. It might be whatever it might be. Something that makes the brain a little bit smarter, a bit more learning, because we're always learning, right? We never stop learning. When we stop learning, we start to die. We're either improving, or we're not. We're going the other way, forwards or backwards. So it's doing something smarter. So they always look at something that they've covered during the day, which has made them smart. So then we've got a reflection of quite a few parts of our life during the day, which appreciate what we have. We have appreciate how good we're being for other people, how beautiful we are as a person, how we can help society and others, which is empowering for them as well, and something they did to improve themselves. So you can see I'll cover quite a few different points there, but they're all about being a stronger person. And the good thing about doing this when they're young is they're very trainable. Okay, we don't want to have to control our kids too much, but the more good habits we can instill in these kids when they're young, then hopefully they're going to follow through into their adult years as well. Things like journaling, things like saying gratitude, empowering themselves, feeling good about helping others, always learning, all these things. I'll cover all of them in this evening bedtime routine. And okay, we've dropped off. What happened there? Okay. Yeah, so I wanted to do this as soon as I learned about it, because I knew that if I'd have learned this when I was young, my life would be pretty different, I'm sure. No regrets in my life, but you know, if you start these habits when you're young, you got a much better chance of being a stronger, better person with a more fulfilling life. So they journal all this, and then we discuss it. Okay, we go through it so that they, of course, when we do this, we do kinesthetic, and we do the listening, we do the thinking. All these different parts of our brain get used. We're helping our subconscious to remember this and to program our subconscious with what we want in life. So we discuss it quickly, and it's all good. It's empowering for them. They enjoy it. And we do it pretty much every night. Occasionally we'll have to miss it because they'll be going to bed when I'm in a webinar or something. But when they don't do it, they miss it. So they often do it by themselves anyway. Yeah, so I think that's really good, because it has changed them a lot in the last, I want to start, it's about maybe a year and a half, 2 years ago. And I've been improving it, now and again as we go through. And what they finish with is, they say, I guess you call it a mantra, right? It's they recite something because I want them to reflect on it and to program their subconscious mind to really take in this stuff, to really absorb it. And it says quite a few key words in there when they're saying it. Now this also prompts discussion, as did the earlier parts when they do the journaling. You know, we talk about what they did successful and smart, and how that's going to help them in the future, and how it's going to help them create a business and create a great life and help other people and all these things. So it's a good discussion points. When they're younger, it's a bit harder but anyway, we take out little bits here and there, and we discuss it and how it's going to help them in the future and all that sort of stuff. So let's look at the mantra, the final part. I'll just read through it. I'm beautiful, I'm successful, I'm smart. So reconfirming all those things that they've already journaled. I don't want an ordinary life, I want an extraordinary life. So here we're saying, because it's very easy to have an ordinary life, just go through the motions of life. But we want an extraordinary life, which is what I've read in a few books. Vijay Lakhani has the Code of Extraordinary Mind, and it's all about creating an extraordinary life. We don't want an ordinary life, we want an extraordinary life, because that's going to give us the peace of mind that we're not struggling to survive, but we're thriving in life, we're really enjoying it. I'm not going to work hard, I'm going to work smart. So that's one thing that we're kind of taught in school and in society, that we have to work hard. And the successful people in life, they don't work hard, they work smart. Yes, they may have to work hard as well, I guess you call it, but it's not hard just for the sake of working hard. It's working smart. Yes, you've got to pile the hours in at the beginning of a business to make it so it grows and then becomes automated. But it's the smart part that makes a difference, right? You can easily work hard and get nowhere. But if you want to work smart. So when you do have to work hard or long hours or whatever, then you're working at the right parts of your business so that your business is growing. So we're not working hard, we're working smart. It's not easy, but it's worth it. Okay, it's not easy. It isn't easy because your brain likes to relax, likes to save energy. You always want to be in the comfort zone. To push yourself out of your comfort zone is not easy. It's very, very difficult, and it's mind over matter kind of thing. You got to convince your mind that, or even switch off your ego and just say, I'm going to do this because this is what I need to do. But a lot of the things we do which are really powerful for us in our life are things that we don't originally want to do because we think it's going to be too hard. We think it's going to be things might go wrong. We're going to feel bad. It's the feeling like you failed, or feeling like people are going to judge you, or feeling like you've wasted your time or your money, and all these things. So these are all things that you have to do. It's not easy, but it is worth it, because we all know that, right? All the great things we've done in our life have not been easy, but they've been empowering and they are worth it. And then something that which I use a lot on my YouTube ads, because I love this so much. My future is not somewhere I go, it's somewhere I get to create. And I love that saying because that sums me up. For the first 40 odd years of my life, I was just going through life. Yes, I had some direction here and there, and yes, I made some big decisions here and there, but I really didn't realize that although I was making these decisions, that was creating my future. I never had that perspective. The epiphany happened not too long ago, actually, probably beginning of this year, so maybe 6 or 8 months ago. And everything we do in our life, we're creating our future. Every problem that we have to solve, the problem we have to solve is because it's going to teach us something for the future. It's going to make our future easier. It's not a problem that should be thought of as a pain in the bum like I used to. I just want to get it done quickly. I want to get it done fast. I don't want to have this hassle. That's all kind of victim mentality. We're having these problems because it's teaching us something to make us a better person for the future. All part of life's journey. So a future, we are creating our future with everything we do, including what we're saying, what we're doing, how we're talking to ourselves, all the stuff that I talk about all the time. I do love it. So yeah, my future is not somewhere I go, it's somewhere I get to create. We are creating our future with everything we do. And that's why I do these webinars. I do them because hopefully I help people. And so I'm serving others, which is a good thing. And also I'm practicing, because when I'm doing this, I'm getting more confident in front of the camera, more confident in webinars, and I'll be able to help more people in the future. So it's like a means to an end. So everything we do, creating a future. And the final one is something I picked up only recently. They say, I'm awesome, right? They really feel it. I am awesome. This is something that's so important. We're all awesome, right? We all have we're very quick to put ourselves down. We tend to judge ourselves harder than we do anybody else. So when we're giving ourselves a hard time, other people are thinking, well, actually, you're doing really well. It's like with our kids. Do we put our kids down as much as we put ourselves down? I'm sure we don't, right? We treat our kids lovingly, caringly. Okay, what you tried didn't work. That picture's maybe not as good as you wanted it to be, but it's still really good. Really, really good. And practice makes perfect, right? So you did a great job. You are awesome. But often we don't tell ourselves that. And that's something that I added at the end here. So I am I'm awesome. and they really feel it, and they love that part actually. Okay, so there's the mantra, and it takes a little bit of time to learn, but after a week or so, they can just rattle through it. And it's not just a matter of just saying it, like all these things, it's about feeling it. Every word is important. And I hope by instilling these habits in them when they're young, that it's going to go through, and they'll appreciate the value of it, and they'll carry it through to their adult life, which is what we want as parents, right? That's what we're here for. Okay. So there we have it. That's what we do every night. And all these different areas are covered. They're important for us as well. It's not just our kids, they're important for us as well. So we can do this routine ourselves if we want to. Or we can just take different bits and do different parts of the day. Like for instance, I will do a lot of this in my morning meditation. I'll just list through those sort of things. With the morning meditation, for me, it's more about not just reflecting on what's now, but also the future as well, your future self. So you're imagining the future as if it's now, and that way you're attracting the things you want in the future to you right now. So things will every day, everything you want in the future is getting a little bit closer. So I put a lot of those into my morning routine. Yeah, so that'll be it for today. I just thought I'd cover that, and hopefully you find some value in it. We always want to give our kids the best, and I think if we do something like this every day, it really does empower the kids. It really does. They love doing it because they realise when they're doing it that they feel better for doing it. So if they're just going to sleep, good night, go to sleep. They actually go through this and they just love it. They enjoy it. I enjoy it because I feel like I'm empowering them. And yeah, hopefully it'll set them up well for their future life. A lot of these things in here, like I said, can be really, really important to them as they head into their adult years, or even their later school years, I guess. You need to have goals. You need to be learning every day, becoming more successful, more smart, helping other people, appreciating what you got, all these things. Okay, so I found that useful. I'll leave it there. Have a great day, wherever you are in the world, whatever time it might be. And I'll speak to you next week for another webinar. I'm not quite sure what I'll cover yet. We'll just see what I fancy at the time, or the weekend I'll decide. If you found some value in that, I'll be speaking to you soon. Okay, take care.